So like I said, children, today we begin this class with the factors or the determinants of demand. We knew that the demands factors were the demand for a good X depends on the factors like price of the good, price of related good, income, taste, expectations. Today we are going to do the demand for a good X depends upon T. T is taste and preferences. So write down other things being equal, the demand for a commodity depend upon consumers' taste and preferences. The taste and preference of the buyer depend upon individual likes and dislikes, individual likes and dislikes, trends and fashion, climatic environment, etc. A positive or a favorable change in taste and preference of the consumer shall lead to an increase in demand and he buys more of a commodity even when its prices continue to be the same. This shifts the demand curve to the right. A negative or unfavorable change in taste and preference of the consumer shall lead to the decrease in demand and he buys less of a commodity even when the price continues to be the same. Here the demand curve shifts to the left. Here the demand curve shifts to the left. Now children, we can even draw a combined diagram. Combined diagram in a sense like this. Your x-axis, y-axis, your demand curve, DD, then the forward to the right, D1, and 1 to the left, D2, price, quantity, Q2, Q1, here it shifts to the right, here it shifts to the left, this shifts to the right, this shifts to the right, this shifts to the left. This is the quantity demanded of a commodity. This is price. This is what we call as a combined diagram, where when there is any favorable change or the taste and preferences is favorable, the demand curve will shift to the right. And when there is a unfavorable or a negative change in the taste and preferences, the demand curve will switch to the left. Manav Jain, why is your video going on and off all the time?
Network.
Okay, next is after taste and preferences, we come to E. That is, the demand for a commodity X depends on E. E is expectations. Expectations. If the consumer expects that the price in the future will rise, then he will buy more quantity in the present at the same existing price and vice versa. Vice versa means if a consumer knows that in the future the prices are going to drop, what would he do? He would stop his purchase for the present, wait for the price to drop, and then he would go and buy his good or his commodity. So expectations also is an important factor in the determinant or as a factor for determining the demand for a good X. Okay, this was all individual demand. Now we come to the next topic, which is market demand. Market demand, factors affecting market demand. So market demand will have all the following factors of an individual, and added to this you will have N, Y, D, and last one will be G, where N stands for the population, N stands for population, YD stands for distribution of income, and G, government policy. Everything else is the same. Factors which will affect market demand. Three are added on. N for population, YD for distribution of income, and G for government policy. Let us see N, population. Population. Increase in population means increase in buyers, which directly means increase in demand. So population also has a big role to play while calculating or while knowing the market demand. If the population increases, it means there are more buyers in the market, and this directly increases the demand. What about distribution of income? Next one, distribution of income, YD. Distribution of income. If income and wealth of a nation is equally distributed, then there will be more demand for goods and unequal distribution of income causes a fall in the quantity demanded. And the last one, G, government policy. If the government imposes taxes on any commodity, the price of the commodity will increase as a result. Demand will decrease and vice versa. So if tax increases, price also will increase. Price will increase. What will happen to demand? Demand will decrease. What is the opposite of tax? Rebate. But if a rebate is given, a rebate is some concessions, then price will come down. And if the price comes down, the demand will increase. So we can sum it up in these two lines. When tax increases, price also will increase. And when price increases, demand will decrease. At the same time, when a rebate is given, the price comes down. And when the price comes down, the demand will increase. So that was the market demand, factors affecting market demand. Now we come to the law of demand. The law of demand. The law of demand states that there is an inverse relationship between price and the quantity demanded of a commodity when other things are constant. So what is the main factor for the law of demand? Price. If price increases, then the quantity demanded will decrease. That is what the law says. Assumptions of the law. Write down the next. Assumptions of the law. What do we assume? Assumptions of the law. Number one, the price of related goods does not change. The price of related goods does not change. So we assume the law of demand will operate assuming that the price of the related good does not change. And because why? Because we learned in the previous class that price of related goods, when they change, what are the related goods? Substitute goods and the complementary goods. Remember? And how an increase or a decrease would affect the demand for that particular good. So we assume that there is no change in the price of related goods. Second, there is no change in the income of the consumer. We assume that there is no change in the income of the consumer. Then the law of demand will operate. Otherwise, we have again learned in the previous classes, how does income affect? There are what you call normal goods and inferior goods. When does he go for normal? When does he go for inferior? We have learned all that. Third, there is no expectations. There is no expectations of change in the price in future. There is no expectation of change in the price in the future. And the fourth would be the taste and preferences of the consumer remain constant. So what affects the law of demand? What is the law of demand? If I have to put it in the form of a diagram, it would be the law of demand simply says everything depends upon price. Everything depends upon, there's an inverse relationship between price and the quantity demanded. If you look at the diagram, when the price was OP, the quantity demanded was OQ. When the price rises from P to P2, the quantity decreases from OQ to OQ2. And when the price falls or reduces, the quantity from OQ increases to OQ1. So this diagram sums it up. This is the law of demand, assuming, of course, those 4 points which I have given you. So here we have price on the y-axis, and on the x-axis we have the quantity demanded. Next, why does the law of demand operate? Why does the law of demand operate? Or we can rephrase this question as, why does the demand curve slope downwards? Downwards to the right. Can you see the demand curve always is a negatively sloped curve from the left to the right. So why does the demand curve slope downwards? Or the question could be asked, why does the law of demand operate? Your answer to this would be, the following factors are responsible for the operation of the law of demand. The following factors are responsible for the operation of the law of demand. The first is the law of diminishing marginal utility. The first is the law of diminishing marginal utility. What is this law? This law states that with the consumption of an additional unit the marginal utility derived from the successive units goes on declining. A consumer will buy more and more units of a commodity only when he has to pay less price for each additional unit. There's a schedule through which I will explain units. Then we have the marginal utility of X. Then we have the price of X. This is given in rupees. The marginal utility is also given in rupees. Okay. And then we have what we call the relationship or the relation. And what happens to demand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Enough? Or 5 also should be enough. Why make it long? The marginal utility is 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Price is given as 4, 4, 4, 4 per unit. This is the place where marginal utility of X is greater than P. Here marginal utility of X is equal to P, and here marginal utility of X is less than P. So when the marginal utility is greater than P, demand will increase. There is a demand up till here, and here demand will decrease. See, the marginal utility is greater than P. Utility, I told you, was satisfaction. You are spending 4 rupees, but you are getting a satisfaction worth rupees 10. Are you in fayda or no? Yes. Then you are spending 4 rupees and getting satisfaction of 8. Remember, as you keep on consuming more and more units, its utility or its satisfaction keeps on declining. I had given you the example of, what did I give you an example of? Can you remember that pani puri? If you go to a pani puri stall, the first one you eat, you seem to enjoy it the most. Then as you keep on increasing the satisfaction level, you are enjoying it, but then it keeps on declining. And there will come a stage when you will stop. You say, okay, that's enough. But if you force yourself to go beyond that, then what happens? Then you will get negative satisfaction, which may even cause you to throw up. Okay, so this is wow. So when you are spending 4 getting 10, you are spending 4 getting 8, spending 4 getting 6. Here all the cases your satisfaction or your marginal utility is greater than P. So you will keep on demanding. This is the place where marginal utility equals your price. This is where you should stop. And after that, if you don't stop, you are spending 4, but 2, you are getting satisfaction. This shows you that your MUX or your marginal utility is less than your price. So your demand will go down. Is that okay, children? Any problem? We are running out of time. I just about got time to shut down the class. Otherwise, it will shut down by itself. So we will now meet on Monday, tomorrow being a Saturday, right? And we will continue with the why the law of demand operates, or why does the demand curve slope downwards to the right. This is the first reason, the law of diminishing marginal utilities. There are another two reasons which we shall do when we come back on Monday. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay, so we stop till here.